What are some of the traits that all great salespeople share? And some of these you can't train. I can remember when I got my first big real manager's job in the car business and I thought I had made it. And my general manager looked at me and he said, "Hey, do you want a pay plan that kind of pays you a little bit more guarantee, or do you want one that you live and die by the sword?" And I said, "Boss, I'm not afraid of taking risk. I want the one where you live and die by the sword." And risk is one thing that all great salespeople are willing to take. They don't want to be judged by a time clock. They want to be judged by the size of their paycheck. That's their report card. One of the things that I hate more than anything, one law I wish, if I was president tomorrow, the one law I would repeal is that salespeople had to clock in and out. I think it's insulting to a salesperson to tell them they have to hit a time card because you didn't get into this business to hit a time card. That's not what you're here for. You're here to close car deals, make money, better yourself, your career, your family, achieve goals and aspirations. That's what you're there. And you didn't want to be judged by something. You didn't want to get paid $10 an hour, $20 an hour. The sky's the limit. So you're willing to take and shoulder that risk that I might work all day to day for free. It can happen. But I also know that it's a risk I'm willing to take because I know that the payout is unlimited for me. All great salespeople tend to have high levels of empathy. They tend to be able to understand what their customer's thinking. This is one of those things that's very hard to train, and it can develop over years of sitting in the saddle and being in that pocket with customers, and that you can smell your way through a deal, that you just instinctively know which way to move, and that you're soft on your feet as you're going through it, because these things don't have scripts. We talk about how to close, what to say, and what to do when you're given this objection and that objection, and we have a process to follow. But the real truth is every customer is completely individual and they have their own wants, needs. They're bringing their own baggage to the table, and we have to know how to deal with that. And being empathetic, being truthful, being honest with our customers and ourselves, that helps us to move on and then get to the number 3 trait, which is curiosity. Are you naturally curious by nature? Curious people tend to care about their customer. They tend to want to know what their customer story is, why they're here, what they're trying to accomplish. Why did they reach out to me today? Why did they reach out to you today? You ask yourself those questions. You're curious about the competition. You're curious about every aspect of the car deal. It helps you learn and to grow. And when you're asking your customers those questions and you want to know about them, their life story, what makes them tick, what are they trying to accomplish, guess what? It makes you a great listener. And all great salespeople know they're born with 2 of these and 1 of these. So when your customer's talking, when they're telling you a story, when they're telling you their needs and wants, are you thinking about the next thing that you want to say? Are you thinking about how that story they're telling you might be funny and it might be interesting, but man, I've got one that's so much better, and as soon as you stop talking, I'm going to tell you my story and why it's so much funnier and so much better. Or are you using both your ears? You're listening, you're taking it in, you're understanding that information the customer is giving you because you honestly care about them. And when they give you those subtle clues inside the car deal, when they talk to you and they say, you know, a sunroof's not important, I can live without it. Maybe you heard, because you listened with both of these, the next vehicle better have a sunroof in it because that's what they want to have. And that's the next trait, details. If you're a great listener, that means you know how to pay attention to details, and not just the big details, the small details. Everything that's being brought into you, you're curious, you're listening, you're empathetic, and now these little small details are coming in and you're able to process those details and know exactly what they mean. And paying attention to the small details leads us to number 6. Do you understand human nature? How someone walks, how they talk, hands on hip versus hands out in front or hands behind. All those are small little details. Where if you're talking to a customer, where's their knees pointed? They're pointed straight at you, they're engaged. Knees are pointing at the door. Guess what? That's where they're ready to go. You hit them with the price of their trade-in and the wife picks up her purse and puts it in the lap. Guess what? Your next goal needs to be to get that purse out of her lap and back on the floor, because you're way off on what that trait is. But you know how to pay attention to those small details, and you're starting to become a student of human nature, and you understand how people think and how they tick. And all great closers and salespeople tend to naturally be independent. They don't have to be told what to do next. They think for themselves, they think on their feet, and then they move and they float through the car deal. They know where their next deal is coming from. They know where their next prospect is. They don't have to have somebody stay on top of them and put that thumb and tell them what to do next, because they're professionals and they're independent. And that independence tends to make them naturally competitive. Are you good in sports? Have you ever played sports? Some of the best salespeople I've ever seen have came from sports. They played baseball, they played football, they were competitive in nature, and you can build on that competitiveness to pull all the rest out. Are you naturally competitive? Do you want to win? And that makes you hungry. That competitive nature keeps you hungry. And great salespeople are hungry for the next deal, the next close. They like that and strive for that next objection to overcome. And if you're hungry and you're competitive and you know how to take risk, then you've got to know how to suffer. How many no's can you shoulder at one time before you get to that yes? How many doors can you have slammed in your face before you get to that yes? How many times can you have someone tell you, I'm not, won't, can't, got to think about it, got to talk to this person, I never buy on the first day, and you just continue to move one step in front of the next? The person who suffers the most is the person who grows the most and is the person who wins. And if you're suffering that much, that means that you share the next trait, and that is you never give up. Quitting is not an option for you. You understand as a clutch closer that your commitment to a deal, to the close, to the contract, to ink on paper is the most important commitment that you can have. It's you. If you believe you have a deal, then you're probably right. If you believe you don't have a deal, then you're probably right. So you never give up. All right, clutch closers, I'm telling you, that leads us to the end here. And these last two, if it doesn't work for you, if you don't have them, I can't teach it to you. I can't tell you how to get it. But when I'm interviewing prospective closers, one of the things I ask them, do babies like you and do dogs like you? And if the answer is no, you're probably not good at closing the car deal, because those two things right there are about as honest as you can get. A puppy's love and a baby's love. When you walk down and you look at that baby, if it starts screaming when you walk around the corner, do babies naturally start crying when you walk into a room? No, man, sales probably isn't for you. And I can remember when I first read that study and the psychology behind why babies and dogs, puppies liking people made them better in sales. And I can remember how nervous I was the first time I walked around the corner and I saw a first baby, and I was like, all right, I got to test this out. All right, here we come. Come on, baby. Come on. I walk up to that baby, he say, Gucci goo, and whoa, that baby smiled. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. I haven't been in this business for 20 years for nothing, because that baby's laughing right now, and that means I still have a chance after 20 years. And after 20 years, I still had a chance. And I'm telling you, if babies and dogs like you, you have a chance too. But maybe I missed some things. There's a lot of traits out there we all share. What are some traits that you think all great salespeople, closers, and leaders share? Put them in the comments below. Let's talk about them. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button to become more clutch in the close. Hit the alert button to consistently close more car deals. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up and go out there and close some car deals today, clutch closers.